Happy Day, Joy Starter. We used to do these kinds of episodes a lot. If you are new to my podcast, I want you to do something for me. I want you to go back to the beginning, and I want you to listen from the beginning, stream from the beginning, because you will hear a lot of these type of podcasts that you're about to hear. What are you talking about, Rachel? Podcast from the road, from thoughts I had where I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to lose it. On the way into my consulting job, which I'm so stinking proud of. Moments where I'm leaving the JAGS facility. Moments where I'm talking about how to consciously and thoughtfully use AI. So many little moments that you're about to hear. And so you have told me over the years that you love these. You love that they are raw, that they're real, that they're extemporaneous, that they are off the cuff, that they are not edited, right? And they ain't I, baby. They ain't AI. They are just as real can be. So I hope that you enjoy the podcast this week, because this is an ode to our past, and we are going to do more of this in the future. And I also have to say this about that. If you're listening to, or if you're watching this on YouTube, and you see this in video, a friend of mine said this, and I love it. I'm unapologetically in my mob boss wife era. Like my outfits, if you could put a descriptor on the way I dress these days, it's the mob boss wife era, and I love it. So I hope you have a great day. I hope you take notes. You know I'm always teaching. There's things in here for speakers, for your heart, for saying thank you, for your Genesis story, like all of it. So I hope you enjoy. And as always, if you will go into the app, wherever it is that you listen, like it, subscribe, share. You can even scroll down and leave a review. But if you would, send this to people. Send this in your group chat, your church group chat, your girlfriend, somebody who needs it, somebody who needs to hear this. I do this podcast for you. I love you guys. Thank you for loving me back. Good morning. The sun is not even up yet, and I am so blessed. People, I get this question. I don't want to say that a lot. I don't want to say that, because there's so many people on the internet that go, I get this question a lot, but I genuinely do get this question a lot. Okay, hold on. Let me figure out what I'm doing here. We're going to the middle. Roundabouts, man. So, people ask me, what do you do when you're not on the road? And so here is, so when in the past, when I'm not on the road, when I first started, I'm changing the narrative, I was sportscasting as well. And then along the way, as I'm changing the narrative, we're in the 10th year, I would coach. And individually, I had a coaching business myself. Then I'm also studying other speakers. Then I'm also reading. I am literally, like I said, studying other speakers. What do they do well? Who is making the most impact right now? Just, collaborating, not competing. I love that. I've been saying that a lot lately. Those at the top don't compete, they collaborate. But lately, the past few years, I wrote a book when I was not on the road. I now consult. And so this is what I am getting to do this morning. And so blessed and so honored. So for the past year, I have been working with a company, one of the largest federal contractors, and they have a project that is very, 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 very important to the Department of Defense. And so I work with them. I train them on social-emotional health, on soul care, on expressing themselves, on proper communication, on relationships, on mental health, and then I coach them. And then in the midst of all of that, there's several different projects underneath this one company. In the midst of all that, I go out there and I do little mini trainings, and I bring breakfast, and I bring lunch, and I check in, and I have touch points. And so this morning is one of those things that those times I get to do. And it's in these moments, these quiet moments, where I just feel so ridiculously, redonkulously, so like stratospherically blessed. It is really windy today here. Hold on. Stratospherically blessed in these moments. And I was just going over what's going on with them, which I won't share this particular project, what's happening with them right now, and how can I be of service? How can I be a blessing? My friend Dr. Oka says, don't pray for a blessing, pray to be a blessing. He spent 27 years with Nick Saban as his right-hand man. So I am saying to myself, in this moment, what do these people need? In this moment, how can I bless them? How can I lift them up? How can I teach them? How can I lead them? And so that is what I'm doing this morning as I make this video, because I've learned, whether by paper, and obviously you can't do paper while you're driving, I've learned, Bob Goff says this, and the author of Blue Like Jazz, it is escaping me his name, but they say you're writing the book of your life. Like, you're literally writing the book of your life right now. Make it a good one. And so as I have these thoughts, as I have these blessings, I want to document them. So I would encourage you to document your life, even if it's on your phone or you write it down. Preferably write it down, because I did see a study the other day, speaking of studying, that people that actually wrote with their hands had a much lesser occurrence of dementia and Alzheimer's than people that didn't. So write things out, write the story of your life. And furthermore, I want to remember this, because I say it came out of the clear blue sky, but y'all, it was such a blessing to get to lead these people and do this, and it was so overwhelming of an opportunity that I had to shut down my coaching business for the past year. I haven't taken on any personal clients for the past year, because this has been so encompassing. And so I travel, I speak, I'm writing a book that's due in August, and I coach and consult. And so this last year has just grown me tremendously, and I want to remember it. I want to remember it. Every moment of it, the good, the bad, the happy, the sad. I'm deeply enmeshed in a good way and involved with these people, these humans. I care about their outcome at work. I care about their outcome at home. I care about their marriages. I care about their relationships and their kids. I care about all of it. And so I don't want to ever forget this. And I'll also tell you that I say it came out of the clear blue sky, but it came out of, and I was talking to somebody about this last night, who's actually leaving this job and who's going to another job. However, it was the way she left this job that was really remarkable. She's not only did she stay, the allotted time after she let the boss know that she was leaving, but she looked for other people to help. She trained other people. She lifted other people up. She was honest. She was kind. She was she went over and beyond. And if you listen to my podcast last week, it was all about going over and beyond. People that go over and beyond in a world that just sometimes mails it in. And I'm just painting with a broad brush. And so it's been the honor of a lifetime, and I know I've said that, but to lead these people. And so I was talking to her yesterday and just told her how proud I was of her. And she said, I'm just so proud of myself that I didn't burn any bridges. I said, honey, I think you probably built some bridges. The way you treated people, the way you were honest, the way you just gave extra. And so just one of many, many examples. And I need to record more and write more down, because I've had another person out here tell me you saved my marriage, and I do not take that lightly at all. And there's a lot of little big stories like that in the last year. And this came from, as I mentioned a moment ago, this came from not mailing it in. It came from another company in which I coached somebody, and we had such breakthrough, and it was so amazing together that they went home and told their significant other about the work that we had done and were doing, and brought my book home. And that person said, oh my gosh, I want that for my company. That would be amazing. And this person called me 2 Decembers ago, and here we are. And so, and I will probably do this kind of work for that person for a long time, because that's the way I operate in my life, is to give people more than they asked for, than they bargained for, and to go over and beyond. And as my friend and the girl that I was telling you about, because I do consider these people friends, she built bridges on the way out. So I would just say, build bridges. Don't burn bridges, build bridges. Find your construction material to be able to build bridges and help people and be a peacemaker in the time of not peace, not peace. So good morning. I love y'all, and I just wanted to bless y'all this morning and document my life. This is for all my speakers out there. You've got to figure out what kind of speaker you are. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about being a public speaker and how terrifying it was, and they had all their notes, and they did this, they did X, Y, Z, and D, and it was terrifying. And I said, hey, it takes all kinds in the world. If all of us were good public speakers, what would the world be like, right? And so it's very important, if you are a speaker, to figure out what kind of speaker you are. I was talking to another person the other day, and we were talking about being an extemporaneous speaker, and that's who I am. That's why I study when I go home. That's why I'm always reading studies and science and all the things, nervous system and mentals and soul, and studying the way other people speak. I love the way Jensen Franklin and T.D. Jakes preaches. I love their energy and their emotion and their passion and their non-perfectionism. And I am much like I heard him speak at a couple of events I did with him, Next Level. I'm much like an ET, just very extemporaneous and off the cuff. And while I have prepared in my head with all of this research, I am gonna, and this goes back to my broadcasting days, I am gonna figure out what these people need, and I'm gonna reverse engineer it. Not, okay, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna say? It's about me. No, it's not about me. Here's the other thing, as a speaker, you gotta figure out, I am no longer a speaker. I told somebody yesterday I'm going to a college I've been wanting to work with this new coach for a while, and I said, I am not a speaker. I'm a sacred space holder. So what do you mean by that, Rachel? I mean, like this morning, I worked backwards from what are they going through and how can I serve them? So my broadcasting days, I remember particularly with Nick Saban, I would say, what do my people want to know the most? As a Tide Sports Extra multicultural reporter, multi-channel reporter, so like internet, on camera, written, I did a little bit of everything for the Tuscaloosa News. So I would work backwards and say, what do people want to know? And so I tried to ask questions to get that out of Nick Saban, to reverse engineer that, versus saying, oh God, what am I going to ask? What am I going to ask them? What do people want to know? And then try to reverse engineer it to get back to that. So how can I serve people? What kind of speaker am I? How can I bless people? Not how can they bless me? How can I get up on the stage and make it all about me, and ooh, look at me, and la la la. And even every one of my stories, I ask people, like physically out loud, audibly ask them to put themselves in my shoes, in my story. What would they have done in that moment? How would they have handled it? And so these are just some tips that I think will help you if you are speaking, and even if you're not a full-time speaker and you're a speaker, you have to speak in a meeting, you have to, you want to be able to articulate and speak well in your family. If you just want to be a better speaker, or if you are a speaker and desire to do that full-time or on the side, you got to figure out what kind of speaker you are. Some people are very notes driven. Some people have your signature talk driven. I don't have a signature talk. I guarantee you, in the past 10 years, there's not two talks that have looked the same. They just don't. That's just that's the kind of speaker I am. That doesn't make anybody else any different or any wrong. But some people need, and there's been a period where I went through and I used slides, and it was great, and I did really, really good, right, during that time too. But I don't use slides right now. Will I use slides again in the future? Maybe, possibly. One of the things that we're doing in our 10-year anniversary is going back and pulling old talks and doing transcripts from those. and pulling those out and making sure that there's old stories that I want to bring back up and I want to talk about, and be able to repurpose. So yeah, it's a lot of nuggets right now, baby. I'm teaching about what kind of speaker you want to be. If you're a notes person and you've got your notes, and I make notes, that's my fallback, because I prepare. Don't ever go into anything unprepared, or don't also, my mom used to say, don't get too big for your britches. Okay, don't get too big for your britches. You're prepared. You may use slides, you may have bullet points, you may be very controlled, it may be something that you rehearse and you can say over and over again. You have your signature talk, and that is beautiful and wonderful. Or you may be extemporaneous. Okay, or you may fall somewhere in the middle. But figure out what kind of speaker you are. Figure out what you're doing when you're not speaking, to study others, to connect, to be able to help them and bless them. And then also, my other tip is to work backwards. What do these people need today? Where are they at? I always ask coaches when I'm at schools, what do these people need? Where are they at? What's happening in their lives? How can I be a blessing to them? So just some more tips this morning as the sun rises on another day. Remember this, you'll never get this day again. It is a gift. You will never get this day again. Make it count. I said in my newsletter week before last, I said, and God woke me up thinking this: what if I never got another Monday? What if this were my last Monday? How would I operate? How would I move differently? What would I say? Who would I forgive? How would I move in life if this were my last Monday? So just want y'all to think about that. And also, lastly, don't let a bad 15 minutes ruin an entire day. All right, babies. Love y'all. Bye. I'm heading over to meet with my JAGS contact, who happens to also be my dear friend. And y'all, I never take it for granted. I'm like, this is like the 10th time I've been to this facility. And I just want to remind you of this today. I don't know where you're going, what you're doing, a school, wherever it is, work, wherever it is. I want you to remember the genesis of it. Like, how did you get there? Did somebody recommend you? What's the significance of you being there? And I don't care if you've been there 20 years, if you've been there 5 years, 5 months, whatever it is. I just want you to remember the significance of how you got there in the first place. And that's what I'm doing as I'm rolling up here today. I'm remembering the significance of how I got here and how God worked, not me. God worked it out for me to work with the JAGS on a consistent basis. And so that is what I'm marinating on today. All right. I love you guys. I hope you have a blessed day. Thank y'all for your prayers, your support, your love yesterday, the past few days, as it was a really tough day for me. And I'm just trying to extrapolate, there's the word, the good that I can from it. And you know what? I learned a heck of a lot about conservation. Just got off the phone with Conservation Florida. I talked to North Florida Land Trust yesterday. I have learned so much about conservation and the law and legal, and I'm using my voice for something important, and I'm proud of myself. And yesterday I made a post that I said I felt like I failed, and now, after a lot of y'all reminded me that I didn't fail, I remember that I teach on this, and that is, it's not a failure unless you learn something from it. And baby, I learned a lot from this, a lot from the past 6 days in trying to save that 18 acres. And I'm not done. It's not where I want it to be. It's not going to be, earmarked for conservation that I know of, unless a miracle happens. But we're not done in letting them know what we desire for that property. I love y'all. Remember, wherever you're going today, a physical location, remember the Genesis, and thank God on this holy week. Love y'all. Y'all, I'm just going to be real with you. I am heading into the dentist, and I am terrified. I had an experience whenever I was younger. Military brat here, and back in the day, military dentist and doctors. Anyway, so I had an experience whenever I was younger probably 6, 7 years old, where I went to the dentist, and the people had no skills, and they took me away from my mother, literally screaming, and strapped me to a board. I am not kidding you. And so I have major PTSD. I go to the dentist, y'all, but like, it is like terrifying for me. So I just want to tell y'all that I'm walking into the dentist right now. I'm doing things afraid. So if you see this today, do things that scare you. Face your fears. Today is the day. Love y'all. Listen to me. We're losing it. We're losing it in our brains. I'm going to be honest with you. I have done it before. And I am stopping. I am halting. Y'all, ChatGPT AI is stealing our brain. I know you're like, what are you talking about, Rachel? When we let AI think for us, like, what hairstyle should I use? Where should I go? What trip should I use? The things that we would think on our own. Literally, there are studies that talk about people that use AI versus people that are just using their brain. Like, your brain is dying. Your brain needs to be used. And don't even get me started on the water. Y'all, every single time you ask ChatGPT to make somebody with 3 boobs, you are affecting a water source. I am beyond myself that people in the world think that we need data centers over rivers, over streams, over people having drinking water, but that is what is happening. And it's insane, y'all. Like, where are we in the world that we think we need a data center over nature, over people's drinking water? But I'm pissed. I am fired up. I am blown away that we are doing this. So what am I doing? I'm asking you to do this. I'm asking you. I'm not saying don't use AI. Don't use ChatGPT. Don't use Claude. Don't use Opus. Don't use those things. But use them sparingly. And when you can use your brain, use your brain. Use your brain. Use your brain, y'all. You need to use your brain. You need to fire your neurons. You need to do these things. And when you cannot use AI, don't use AI. I heard I need to test it. You can do a thing in Google where you do your Google search minus AI, because it's using AI even when you don't want to use your AI. But for the love of your brain, for the love of water, use this. Love you guys. I'm calling myself up.